Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Tonight, October 4th, 2022, a Tuesday, Yom Kippur, a day associated with judgment in Jewish spirituality. Aaron Judge sets the American League home run record, hitting number 62. He tied Roger Maris 61 years after Roger Maris hit the record 61, which was in the year 1961. And as we're always talking about, numbers are very important to certain spiritual beliefs. For example, the number 61 is the 18th prime number, and in Jewish Kabbalistic spirituality, the number 18 represents the meaning of life. 61 is the 18th prime number. In the ancient Jewish practice of coding numbers into words, baseball equals 18. But today is Yom Kippur, which again is associated with judgment, and in Gematria, Yom Kippur equals 99. Aaron Judge, number 99. On Yom Kippur, the Yankees play a doubleheader. In the first game, they get their record to 99 wins and 61 losses, while Aaron Judge, number 99, is on 61 home runs. And then in game 2 of the doubleheader, Aaron Judge, in his first at bat, hits his 62nd home run, the record for the American League. And again, this stuff is predictable. If you follow my website, I wrote about why today, October 4th, would make so much sense for Aaron Judge to hit number 62. And I showed how it factored in with the Queen with regards to 99. Let's not forget, the Queen's husband, Philip, just died at age 99 on April 9th, 2021, the 99th day of the year. The same day DMX died, and Dark Man X equals 49, like how that date can be written April 9th, 49. But again, Philip dies at age 99 on the 99th day of the year. This year, Dwayne Haskins died on the 99th day of the year, supposedly ran over by a dump truck, and the Ohio State quarterback, the championship scheduled for his 99th day of his age. But again, going back to the 99. Oh, I didn't want to lose my train of thought. I got to hit the rewind button. What was I just talking about? I cannot lose the train of thought with the 99s. I can't believe it just slipped out of my mind like that. I'm getting Alzheimer's. It'll come back to me. But anyhow. Oh, I know exactly what it was. Here, I'll just show you in Gematria. I'll just show you what it was. Remember Mandalay Bay equals 99. That's where the casino shooting was the other year on Yom Kippur. Mandalay Bay, when you use the alphabetic order, is 99. And for the record, when you write out the United States of America, it's 99. And this country was named that on 9/9. But the Queen Elizabeth Alexandra Mary is her birth name, which equals 99 in the most pure cipher. If you're new here, alphabetic order, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5. Where it changes is when you get to J, the 10th letter. J, you see how in the green cipher J is 10? That's because it's the 10th letter. In numerology, though, 1 plus 0 is 1. So the dark blue cipher is the alphabetic order of numerology. Notice K is 11, 1 plus 1 is 2. Z is the 26th letter, 2 plus 6 is 8. So anyhow, the Queen who just died, Elizabeth Alexandra Mary, 99, right? And notice the word Queen is 62 and 26. And this is what I wrote about the other day. October 4th, again, this is published from Sunday. This is on Sunday I wrote this. And if I weren't so busy with going to New York for 9/11 and moving and everything right now, I guarantee you I would have saw this 10 miles away. It's just like when we called the Yankees record dead on for what it would be after the Field of Dreams game last year. We said way in advance why the Yankees would be on 63 wins by the end of that game. But again, I wrote October 4th will be 26 days after the Queen's death and the first day of Yom Kippur, a Jewish holiday connected to judgment. So again, Queen with the alphabetic order 62, with numerology 26. We've talked about this number a million times with queens. Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, dead on a 62 date numerology. Queen Elizabeth became queen on February 6th, which in the UK is written 6/2. In the US, we write it 2/6. And her coronation's on June 2nd, which over here we write 6/2, and over there 2/6. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Queen equals 73. Charles, her son, was 73 years old when she died, making him king. And then 19, we just talked about how they used that in the Vikings game the other day as the Vikings won the first game in London after her death, and she died on the first day of the NFL season, and how number 19 had the perfect birthday, and he had the exact numbers that were the indicators that the Vikings, who wear purple like royalty, would win that game. And don't forget Prince, who was from Minnesota like the Vikings. He died on Queen Elizabeth's birthday, April 21st, 2016. 421. He had the hit song I Would Die For You with the number 4 and the letter U, and used the 21st letter. I Would Die 421 is how you read that song if you knew Gematria. What day does he die? 421, 33 years after recording it in 83. And in 1983, that's the year the song Murder by Numbers was written by the Police, where killing's as simple as ABC 123. Murder 83. Anyway, this is written days ago. And again, we have a million correct predictions from understanding this knowledge. And these are always the easiest ones to make. The holiday rituals are always the easiest to see because they're the biggest rituals. It makes sense when you think about it. Yom Kippur, very important Jewish holy day, comes right after the start of the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah. And again, it's about atonement for your sins. It's that process of kind of like what we do anyway if we're not Jewish, right? At the common thing for us is at the end of the year, the start of a new year, to think about, okay, I got to make this better this year. I got to stop doing this year. Essentially, this is it in the Jewish tradition: Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. And again, if you just continue to read through my notes, I pointed out how October 4th is the 181st day of the season. That's the 42nd prime number in the most pure cipher. Aaron Judge is 42. And again, I said that'll be 162 days after his birthday. Remember, if you write out baseball with the reverse alphabetic order, it's 162. And if you write out Major League Baseball with the alphabetic order forwards, it's 162. Like there's a 162 game season. And notice how the phrase sun worship, you see how it's 162. You see how it's also 54 forwards and backwards and 108. Notice there's 108 double stitches on a baseball. Major League is 108. And notice how the word sun is 54. It's also 9 in the most pure cipher, like 9 innings. And again, all roads lead to Rome. The Roman Catholic Church was once a sun worshiping cult. Baseball is a game that's played in the time of the sunny seasons. Starts in spring, the old time when the Julian calendar New Year was, when things are anew, when the plants are blooming. A time that actually makes sense to have a new year because things are anew. Back then, we were connected to nature. We knew when it was the new year because here comes the new bounty. We're getting out of winter where we survived on our preserved goods and hunting and whatever else we had to do to survive the winter. But anyway, this is why all these traditions exist. Once upon a time, there were humans and they didn't have screens to look at every night. They had the stars to look at, and they had nature and the people around them and the living creatures around them. And this is how they made sense of the world. And now we have these new religions that use those traditions, but give a new brand and spin to it and say those old crazy pagan people, they're evil. And again, understand there are people who are into this pagan stuff that are very evil. But again, we've learned to just totally judge things all with one stroke. This pagan is evil, so this pagan is evil. And again, that's wrong. Everything's a case by case basis in this world. But anyhow, I'm just getting into where all this stuff comes from and why it's this way. We when I was still in school, I'm almost 40 years old. Next year I'll turn 40. But when I was in elementary school, they taught us about the ancient civilizations that would have these big festivals, celebrations for the times of the year, when the sun comes back. And they'd even have things like ritual sacrifices, and we learned about this in school like this was a thing of the past. This wasn't going on anymore, but it was put in our head, this idea, as we learned about all the empires of the world, the Greeks, the Romans, and so on. But anyway, this stuff is not arbitrary, guys. Again, look at sun worship. 162 like the games in the season, 54 like baseball. You see how sun worship's 54 forwards and backwards? Get a good look at baseball. 54 forwards and backwards. And the most pure cipher, 18, like 61 home runs and 61, the 18th prime, and then the record broken 61 years later. But and notice the word sun itself is also 18 like baseball, and so is IHS, which you've seen in the sun before in any Jesuit logo for Jesus Hominum Salvator. That's a whole nother road to go down. But again, look at Yom Kippur. 54, right? 99. 45 is the ninth triangular number. Take a look at Major League again. See how Major League's got the 45, also the 108. Again, sun worship 108, 108 double stitches on a baseball, 108 relevant to the sun. Again, they say from the moon to the earth is the diameter of 108 moons, and from the moon to the sun is the diameter of 108 suns, and the diameter of the sun is 108 earths. That's how they break it down in the science book. And that's why in all these spiritualities, there's tributes to 108. And again, even yoga has the 108 sun salutations. And again, this is how it was so easy to call the year the Cubs broke the 108-year drought. They hadn't been in the World Series since 45, and we just saw how Major League is 45, so is Wrigley, you know. Go back and see. I should go back in that Cubs season and look at what they did for Yom Kippur that year. I bet they did something. But yeah, you guys, I mean, and if you guys don't follow me on Gematria Effect News, I did put up videos about this morning. On Gematria, I'm on Gematria Effect News 25 now due to all the censorship, so we're now on the 25th channel. But this morning I did a video called Yom Kippur 2022, Russia's Nuclear Threat, Hunt for Red October, Alec Baldwin, and Aaron Judge. And if you missed this video, again, I talked about, it's Yom Kippur, 99, 62, blah, blah, blah. Same stuff I just talked about. But I also made the point that yesterday, the day before Yom Kippur began, the big news story for Russia Ukraine was that this let me go to my Twitter page. Bear with me 1 minute so you can just see the headlines. You don't have to take my word for it. And then I'll tell you everything I've been talking about since last October. Oh, by the way, you got to love the Yankees won the first game to get to 99 and 61, 5-4, right? You got to love it. 9 runs, 5-4. By the way, read about the Bush family and their bloodlines to British royalty. Because, again, the Bush family used to run the Rangers. And you got Aaron Judge, the Jewish holiday, the royal family, the Bush family baseball team that we've used so many times. Oh, and here, you want to know what else is messed up that I forgot to tell you guys? Today, the day he does this, again, Yom Kippur is related to judgment, atonement for your sins. The word judge is 88. This year it fell on October 4th. Again, the Jewish holidays only fall on the same date every 19 years. So the next time Yom Kippur will begin on October 4th is 19 years from now. So that's the year 2041. That's the next time it'll be on October 4th. But today leaves 88 days left in the year, the way it falls this year. So again, this isn't the last time this happened was 19 years earlier. It was, what was 19 years ago? 2003. 2003 was the last time Yom Kippur was on this date. Aaron Judge was a little kid. He was playing Little League Baseball. He was 7, 8 years old, fresh out of the test tube. I'm not exactly sure how old is Aaron Judge right now? That's a good question. Hold on. What age did they have him do this at? He's 30 years old. Well, there's a biblical age. Jesus, the ministry of Jesus begins at age 30. The word Bible in the most simple cipher is 30. Number pertaining to Saturn. That's the thing about Saturn. People have different years. It has a 27-year return, has a 30-year return, but it's a number pertaining to Saturn. Remember, Saturn is the planet that has the symbolism pertaining to judgment. That's how we called the massive fall. The massive thing that was to happen in 2017 at Yom Kippur, it ended up being Sin City, the mass shooting, but we had that circled all year the way it fell because it lined up with these numbers that are important to Saturn. But anyway, how all these things come together. And but hold on, let me get back to what I wanted to show you. Tom Brady and Giselle in the news during the time of Yom Kippur. They always like to show us menorah at Christmas time, but which is also Hanukkah time. But this was the news yesterday. Russian nuclear submarine armed with doomsday weapon reportedly vanishes from harbor. Okay? This was yesterday, the day before Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is connected to judgment. Doomsday is often a synonym for Judgment Day. These things are referred to in the same way. Judgment Day, Doomsday. And again, just so in case I didn't show this already, Yom Kippur, again, this year is October 4th and the 5th, Jewish holy days, sundown, beginning and end, sunrise, all the customs in the Jewish faith. But anyhow, This year it fell on October 4th. Again, Yom Kippur. Here's the little Google blurb for it. It is on Yom Kippur that God decides each person's fate. So Jews are encouraged to make amends and ask forgiveness for sins committed during the past year. The holiday is observed with a 25-hour fast and a special religious service. Okay. So again, deciding your fate, judgment, Judgment Day. They've been using my thumbnail for this video with the countdown to Judgment Day. That's how the Yankees have been marketing Aaron Judge breaking the record. I mean, and again, you got the announcers always saying you couldn't have scripted it any better. You couldn't have scripted it any better. Countdown to Judgment Day. And then Aaron Judge, and understand for years I've been showing how Aaron Judge is just on this perfect ritualistic script synced up with the federal government, the Supreme Court justices. Remember this year? Do you remember how the Yankees had a record 15-game winning streak? It started the day of the Uvalde mass shooting in Texas. That game, the first game of that streak, was won on a comeback off the bat of, I can't think of his name right now, but he's from Texas, from near the Uvalde area. And then the last win of the Yankees in that 15-game streak came on the bat of Aaron Judge in a comeback. And it was right as New York judged in favor of concealed carry. The same news cycle. Aaron Judge, 15th game, one straight for the Yankees. And in Gematria, gun equals 15. And so does Texas. Both in the most pure cipher. In the same cipher, the dark blue one. Gun 15, Texas 15. Yankees 15-game winning streak. It's one on the bat of Aaron Judge. Judgment in New York on concealed carry. And again, like we've been showing all these years, news, sports, all together. And if you guys are new here, understand, when I first started in 2013, 90% of the work I did was just in this dark blue cipher. And I just hit the wrong button. But again, the one where gun in Texas are 15. And I learned that from Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages. And that was published in 1926, which I was born in 83. That's 57 years before I was born. That information was out there for people to access and look into. And they've been doing this whole damn time. Certain people have been knowing this whole time. So I hate when people come and write, oh, this guy and his numbers. My numbers? I learned about this in a book that had been there for a long time and then just put it into practice. And I mean, really, guys, I didn't realize what this would turn into when I started, but look at how many people are now decoding sports every day, making a living off this. There's a lot, you guys. There's a lot of people that no longer have a slave job, and this is how they pay the bills now. And I'm not recommending that you just do that overnight, but the people who are doing that studied for years. They were here for years. They researched. They got good with it themselves, and then they trusted their own selves with it. You learn how to do this, you'll see. It's not that hard once you know what's going on. I did the groundwork for a lot of people, man. Again, we've been talking about these same things year after year. And again, it's not just calling sports outcomes. It's just like how I said, watch out for what they got going with Yom Kippur this year. And the next thing you know, Mandalay Bay, 99 in the most simple cipher, all shot up. And you see how it's 36 in the most pure? 666 is the 36th triangular number. That means if you had 1 through 36, it equals 666. But again, Yom Kippur connected to sins, Las Vegas, horrible tragedy, Sin City. And my prediction was pretty specific. I said, watch, we're going to see the biggest false boogeyman terrorism event. I don't even know how to phrase anything anymore on this. I don't know how to say anything without getting censored on this platform. But I said there's going to be a big, deadly event, the worst in this country since 9/11, for the way they had that Yom Kippur set up. And ends up being the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting on the day, leaving 91 days left in the year. In a massive, massive ritual paying tribute to the same numbers that we're talking about today. Aaron Judge with the record. And here's something else you need to know about him hitting 62. Again, we talked about why it matters that he did it 62 days, or not 62 days, 26 days after the Queen's death. And in light of Philip dying at 99 on the 99th day of the year. We talked about that. But I'm not sure I made this point. The name of God from the Old Testament is Elohim. Elohim. And his name is used in the Torah. That's the beginning of the Bible that the Abrahamic religions are based in, also known as the 5 books of Moses. But you see how Torah is 62, like Elohim or Elohim, 62. And notice in the most pure cipher, if you write out Garden of Eden, it's also 62. And if you guys haven't read my first book, Letters and Numbers, I talk about this in chapter 1, why there's 26 letters in the English alphabet. And then I get into a little bit the reflection of 26, 62, and what it has to do with the beginning of the Bible. Because again, this code of letters and numbers comes from Hebrew originally, which the Old Testament is written in. And by the way, for anyone who wonders why I'm wearing the Yankees hat, I've had this forever. I never wear it because first of all, I look stupid in it, but I just had to wear it to make the point about Aaron Judge tonight. I figured it'd make people like my dad maybe pay a little bit more attention. Well, my dad's given up. He realizes sports is BS now. He got to listen to me for about 6-7 years before he realized, okay, you're right. It is scripted crap. And he saw it as a big baseball fan with the shifts they were doing in recent years. I know they finally got rid of that this year, but it's just like there's no way you're in major league if you can't hit through these holes formed on the field. This is a joke. Should be able to just check swing it into these huge spots. But Garden of Eden, again, you guys, the Bible, right? The Genesis, the Abrahamic religions, all based in this same thing, which is known as the Torah. And again, these are Jewish things. Like Yom Kippur is a Jewish thing. And I want people to understand that doesn't mean that Jews are responsible for this scripting ritual. Remember, the Jesuits were formed during the time of the Protestant Reformation to stop the forces that were working against them in Europe. And it brought the Catholic Church and Jews together to protect their own interests. And notice Yom Kippur, 144.54. Look at Jesuit order. These are huge numbers with the Jesuit order. You see in that most pure cipher 54, look at John Carroll. That's the Jesuit who established Georgetown, the first Jesuit university, at age 54 in 1789. The date was January 23rd, 1789. So, and why January 23rd? The Jesuits were created by Ignatius of Loyola, which is 231. You can write that date 23/1. Of course, the bigger number with him is 201. And you can say a lot about that 75 as well. You know what? Here, think about this, you guys. The New York Times is a paper that's always been run by Jesuits. A lot of media has. Technology. Jesuits are big in the things that control humanity, like technology, like computers, screens, news. They're big in government, military, corporations, education. If you've never seen this before, I just got to make the point. The question is, who would pledge it? Who would pledge it? Who would pledge it? And you'll see what I mean after I put it up here. Okay, this is from the New York Times, October 6, 1940. New World Order pledged to Jews. Remind me what baseball team's doing the ritual tonight. The New York Yankees, you know? And I hate that we can't say anything. I'm not saying it's right, but I mean, just I just made it to New York City for the first time in my lifetime, just recently for what we just did, gathering in 9/11 and creating a spark in that city to get people to wake up to how bad we're being manipulated. But you know, I hate that we can't say anything without fear of censorship. People will refer to New York as Jew York. I've heard this 1,000 times in my life, and I'd never even been to New York before. Jew York, right? And again, you think of Seinfeld, you know, there's a lot of examples, right? By the way, if you just notice how Ignatius of Loyola equals 201, so does Jerry Seinfeld, so does the state of Israel. Its official name, State of Israel, is 201, just like the Jesuit orders 201. Huge number with the Jesuits. Again, Pope Francis's birth name equals 201. He's the first Jesuit pope and the first to live in Suite 201. And the list goes on. But anyhow, the weirdest thing that happened while we were in New York, and I bit my tongue because I didn't say anything because I thought if I say something about this, it might actually create a real problem the way things are in this world. But when we were in front of the World Trade Center on September 11th, it was raining all day, but we were getting out the word and still getting people to stop and listen because they'd never heard information like this before. And it's too bad I'm not there right now talking about Aaron Judge and Yom Kippur right at the same places we did. Rockefeller Plaza, the bookstore, Times Square, World Trade Center. That's why what I'm trying to get people to do is go out and do the same thing we just did in New York City, where we did in Oklahoma City, Buffalo, all these places. Start doing it in your neighborhood. Get this information out. If you realize the world needs this information, create your Gematria crew, because the people are out there. Every city I went to, there was at least 20 some people who came out of every city. We had every city across the nation, and understand these cities I hit, a lot of them I was just there for 2-3 hours. But even in that short time, at least 20 people in every place. Then when we got to New York City, we got a whole lot more people. But I drove from Seattle to New York City recently, if you missed it. But anyhow, this should be on the streets of New York right now. You know, I'm calling on everybody who came out in New York to put the crew back together, and who wants to take the microphone. I know Lincoln Karam's out there. Who's the new speaker? You know, maybe it's the shark himself. Or it's just got to be happening everywhere, you guys, because this stuff is blatant that they're getting away with. What they did last night in the Niners game, again, the Niners got, again, here, let me put 75 up on the screen, and then we'll talk about it. Ignatius Loyola is 75, right? New World Order 75. Okay, again, this headline right here. Jesuits have controlled the New York Times. So who's pledging it to Jews? The Jesuits, who are Catholic and Jewish. But think about who's the bigger of those two. The Catholic Church is massive compared to Judaism. So anyway, and again, Israel, for people who don't get it, the Catholic Church has a vested interest in bringing about revelation and what we refer to as, you know, the cataclysm in that book. And there has to be a synagogue of Satan. There has to be all this stuff. What I'm arguing is the Catholic Church is helping prop up all this biblical prophecy. It's what's got so many people in the world right now just waiting for Jesus to return and not even trying to do anything. And they're sitting at home tonight cheering for Aaron Judge and woohoo, thank you, Jesus. And they don't even see what they're doing, right? But they're good-hearted people just being manipulated. And then anyway, notice. New World Order 75, just like the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, right? I'm going to explain something to you and why this matters. If you write out Catholic Church, spell it right. Catholic Church is 75. If you write out just the word order itself, it's 75. A lot of rituals with this number. The day they did this headline, October 6, 1940, that was a date with numerology of 75. October 6, 1940 was a date with 75 numerology. So what a perfect day to have this headline. And keep in mind, the NFL has quite the matchup tonight that pays tribute to prophecy. There's so many different things to point out here. I'll have to come back to that point. Well, here's prophecy in 106. Notice how prophecy is 106 and Revelation's 121. The Colts are playing the Broncos, horses, right? The horses of the apocalypse, the white Broncos. The Colts are playing the Broncos on primetime on Thursday, coming in 1-2-1. Pretty rare record. Not, the odds of having a tie game, in any season are pretty rare. So they're coming in 1-2-1 on the date 10/6, the same day that headline's from 1940, but just prophecy and revelation. If you guys have been around, you know that I have the first book I ever tried to write, I just put for free on my old blog, and it was called Revelation and the Birth of a Nation, and how they use these number patterns ritualistically and everything from news to sports. I've been making the same point for all these years. And then, I never felt that book was even good enough to try and actually put into a real form and sell. But then my next book, Letters and Numbers, no one would publish it, but I put it out as an ebook. And then my last book, Number Games, I got Book Baby to be willing to publish that. And again, that's the first book that's been in physical form until I'm done with the latest one I'm working on. But anyway, guys, I'm telling you, you start paying attention, you see the way we're being manipulated. And it should be so obvious, you guys. 9/11, Patriot Act, Patriots. I mean, there's a lot of examples. And some are more complex to explain, but we've seen them in advance, like Super Bowl 50. We saw how they'd pay tribute to Huey P. Newton, who died the same year Cam Newton was born. Huey P. Newton, the founder of the Black Panthers in San Francisco. That year, the Super Bowl in San Francisco. Of course, Cam Newton's going, and he's facing the white Bronco like O.J. Simpson in the chase. In the race war symbolism, the Black Panthers and the white Broncos. Think of Broncos, you think of Cowboys. And in our society, they made us think of, when you think of cowboy, you definitely think of a white guy, but that's also not real history. There were all sorts of cowboys of all different races. Just learned this Hollywood version of history. And it's all divisive, man. It's all divisive. And anyhow, with regards to 99 being so heavy on this, again, think about this part right here. The United States of America and the most pure cipher equals 99. And if you didn't know, it was named that on September 9th, 1776. If you don't know that, look it up. Again, that's why I always put out information and dates. You can look it all up. If you hear something wrong on my channel, it's more than likely that I just misspoke. So leave a comment and said, hey, I looked this up and that wasn't right. And then I'll just say, oh, this is what I meant to say. Because again, every video I do is just off the cuff. But do you guys notice how United States of America is also 144? Again, to like Yom Kippur and Jesuit order. And how about President Biden? Remember the simulation 144 days before the election at Jesuit Georgetown? Transition Integrity Project, TIP for Transition Integrity Project. Look it up. Notice how President Biden's also 81, like his 81 million votes. And I'm out here in Washington State and in Seattle, man. You can't even find any Biden bumper stickers or yard signs. Like, come on, this guy got more votes than anybody. He got more than Obama. Remember when Obama endorsed 81 candidates on 8-1? Again, you guys, there's a joke behind all this stuff, man. It's the languages and the words. Ritual 81. So many rituals with that number. But yeah, the point is, with regards to the United States of America and 99. Okay, I want to take you back to what I was saying before COVID happened. For years, we were saying why 2020 was going to be a bad year, but then I started to understand it even more why it was going to be. Because again, they're using the Bible ritualistically. August of 2019 was 400 years of slavery in America per the history books, his story. Again, we're living out their story, their planned history, their planned prophecy. But again, August of 2019 was, here, I want to show you something. Acts 7:6 from the Bible. And then we'll look at Acts 7:7. Or here, I'll just do them both. Here we go. And we'll read the King James Version like Shakespeare wrote it. Okay. And God spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, and that they should bring them into bondage and entreat them evil 400 years. That version sounds even more hardcore. And the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge, said God. And after that shall they come forth and serve me in this place. I didn't even get to the point I needed to make about being in New York and what I saw. What I saw was a bunch of Hasidic Jews posing in front of the Port Authority vehicles and having a camera shoot with the officers all around who were there, who made a wall in front of us because of, I don't know. That's how they always treat people who bring information and facts to the streets, like they're some kind of threat. Because, of course, they are to the establishment that owns the cops, who fulfill the false laws made by these psychopaths. Like, you can't dare have that plant or you'll end up in this cage I made for you and do my slave labor even more. But let me try to read this in the less Shakespeare way. Let's do the New International Version, and then we'll really break it down. Acts 7:6-7. God spoke to him in this way. For 400 years, your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, and they will be enslaved and mistreated. Notice it doesn't have the word evil like the King James Version. But I will punish the nation they serve as slaves, God said, and afterward they will come out of the country and worship me in this place. Okay, so with regards to Acts 7:6 being about slavery, again, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, slave is 76, so is Negro, so is Blues, so is Rasta. Remember, Obama's book, A Promised Land, was put out on the day leaving 44 days left in the year. But the name of that book is 76 in reverse. And you notice how it's 59 forwards. Again, notice how all those words I wrote were 59 forwards, 76 in reverse. And think about how Obamacare is 59. And now we're getting into this state of kind of like medical. You can't even say what it is because they'll say it's medical misinformation. But we're getting to the point where we don't have sovereignty over our own bodies. And if you don't have sovereignty over your own body, well, you're as good as a slave. So just think about how Obamacare is 59 and as things going along with Trump, who had the whole beef with him over the birther, and now it's his vice president there while all this stuff's going on. But again, Act 7:6 about slavery, and then Act 7:7 is about the nation that has the slaves for 400 years being punished. And United States is 77. Remember, our capital, DC, is on the 77th meridian west. Like how on 9/11, Flight 77 hit the 77-foot tall Pentagon on the 77th meridian west 77 minutes after taking off. And they say the thing took off at 8:20 and crashed at 9:37. Look it up. It's all facts. Figured out World Trade Center equals 77. Here, I'll show you the most pure cipher. World Trade Center 77. If you spell out September 11th, it's 77. It went down in Manhattan, mostly in New York. The Manhattan Project, 77. And the list goes on. Pentagon construction began September 11th, 1941, just before Pearl Harbor. They called it the New Pearl Harbor, 9/11. Ground Zero equals 127. Buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell at Ground Zero. Again, they called it the New Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor was December 7th, 127. So, again, you guys, and after the World Series, after 9/11, who was in the World Series? The Yankees, you know, New York, the Empire State. Here, for the New York person who doesn't appreciate that there's 4 ciphers, now you will. Watch this. The abbreviation NY is 39, which is the alphabetic order. N's the 14th letter, Y is the 25th. If you run the alphabetic order in reverse, NYC for New York City is 39 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. So N becomes 13, Y becomes 2, C becomes 24. So you add it up, it's 39. And notice when you write out New York in the most pure cipher, it's 39. And when you write out New York, comma, NY, it's 39 when you run it in reverse numerology, like I'd write it on an envelope. And again, the United Nations there is 39 floors tall. The World's Fair was in 39. Yankees won the World Series in 39. Can't tell you about how many New York 39 sports rituals there have been. This past week, the Giants beat the Bears 39 weeks after their last meeting, and the over-under was set at 39. And the week before, they scored 39 points in primetime when the over-under was at 39.5. And we thought the score would be right at 39. Before game time, it did drop down to 38.5, but then you'd still go 39 because that's the New York number. So then you'd be on the over when it changes. But yeah, and just coming back to 62. Remember, Seattle had the World's Fair in 1962. And Seattle's Magnuson Klemenkic Associates helped design the World Trade Centers in New York. Boeing debuted their jumbo jetliner the same year World Trade Center construction began, the same year 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, the same year 2001 Space Odyssey came out, all that stuff in 1968. But Seattle's connected to Magnuson Klemenkic Associates, engineer at the World Trade Centers, Boeing. The man who designed the World Trade Centers, Japanese American, New Pearl Harbor, was from Seattle. And I'm forgetting one other thing that fits in here, but remember COVID started in Seattle and then it got terrible in New York. But again, the World's Fair in Seattle was in 62. In New York, it was in 39. 39 plus 62 is 2001. You know what I mean? So again, certain numbers being really important to these people. And remember, the word Mason in the most simple cipher is 62. Masonry's secrets are based in the Old Testament, like Yom Kippur is based in the Old Testament. This ritualistic code of letters and numbers is from the Old Testament. It's not just a ritualistic code. That's a false way to express what it is. This code of letters and numbers is connected to an ancient spiritual belief system that has a good half and a dark half. The good half is about understanding the way Creator works through the knowledge of letters, numbers, and words. And again, if you're new here, that might sound really dumb to you, like it once sounded really stupid to me until I became aware of the code. And then I just realized how many things do seemingly happen in this world by the numbers if you're aware of this. You'd never notice if you weren't aware. But again, just in this community, since we came back from New York, a lot of people connected to that event and to the Gematria community just happened to get in a car accident on the 22nd. And again, in the most pure cipher, the word crash is 22. It's just mind-blowing. And the first call that I got was from a 49-year-old man with a Valentine's Day birthday who got in his first car crash 220 days after his birthday on the 22nd of September. And then turned out a bunch of people got in a car crash that day. It's a mind-blowing story. But anyway, there's a reason that it's like they figured it out. Just people living in the world, somehow something was going on with numbers. And then through observation, it became a spiritual study. And while it sounds like it's the silliest thing in the world, you see there is something to it. And you also see the way it's being manipulated by the psychopaths, like teaching us, ingraining in our mind 911 emergency and the biggest emergency of our life. And then all at once, the biggest call to give up the most amount of rights and liberties in the history of the nation, all at the same time, and using a biblical code. And again, with regards to Torah being 62, which begins with Genesis, where Elohim is, again, Genesis 11:9, where the story of the Tower of Babel ends. The 11th day of the ninth month was the day of 9/11. The Tower of Babel is the tower that divides the world. So, again, you guys, it's I've been explaining how biblical it is for all these years, and making correct predictions and showing you how the knowledge just lines up perfectly. Boom, 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 from news to sports to world affairs. And again, like I said, if we don't wise up, man, eventually there are going to be some consequences. There is going to be a judgment for just marching along to the beat of tyranny. And but again, just from earlier, go back and watch this video from earlier. Paul and Ron see it. They say, "You called it. Great job again. Appreciate it, gentlemen." But it's sad that more people aren't seeing these videos at this day and age because of all the censorship and channel deletions. I mean, this could be massive if it wasn't for all the censorship. That's why I call on all of you guys who are watching, who are dedicated to the work, to do more to share it, because there is so much working against us in terms of censorship. And again, you don't even have to do it online. You don't even have to do it online. You can just go out and do it, like we did in New York. Shout out to Lincoln Karam. He brought out the speaker, the microphone. It was a blaring system. It could be heard for blocks. And we had people listening up and down in all directions on the blocks. And again, just imagine the same scene going on all over the country. Every place that there's a busy spot in the city, if there's a truth seeker who knows about it, who's like, this would be a good spot to get out the word, hey, now is the time to go out and get out the word. New York City, man, who wants to go out there and bring the Yom Kippur Aaron Judge latest mega ritual in sports to people's attention? Really, for what I'm sharing tonight, this should be the top story on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports news. The reason ESPN doesn't want to talk about it is because then people would see, oh, ESPN's part of this Jesuit thing too. Think about how many times they've been able to call the games just based on them being on ESPN and these numbers 54 and 18, a million times over the years. They run the rituals with the games through these network specials. And you see the 54-18, again, whose numbers are those? Jesuit Order, IHS. And if you don't know the history of ESPN, again, 54-18, and the most simple ciphers, baseball's 54 and 18. One of my oldest posts is how ESPN began as an exclusive baseball network. Once upon a time, again, baseball was really America's pastime, and just so much dedication to numbers and stats, and the people who love the game just following all these numbers and stats and keeping track of all of them. People go to games and keep score for their own game. They record balls and strikes and outs. If you don't know about this, if you don't know anything about baseball, you'll see fans in the stands. They still do it. They get the fold-out card. They got the pencil. And they're keeping track. The total pitch count. They know exactly what pitch the pitcher's on. And that's why you always see people in my comments, how could you keep track of the pitch count? It's like, dude, that's a common thing in baseball. That's just part of baseball record keeping. Baseball's all numbers. That's why you got Aaron Judge on Judgment Day when they're marketing Countdown to Judgment Day on the day leaving 88 days left in the year going yard. And don't forget that Donald Trump was number 45, right? You see how Judge is 47, 88, 25? Look at the name Trump, 47, 88, 25. Remember, he was the 45th president. You see how Holy Bible's 45 forwards and backwards? Just like Major League. Special number, IHS, Jesuit letters. But remember what Trump was. He was the Trump-Pence ticket. It was Trump and Mike Pence. And by the way, Mike Pence is VP, 45 forwards and backwards. Mike Pence was the 48th VP. Donald Trump equals 48. And you see how Donald Trump's 60 in reverse? Remember the day Ivana died, she was the third Trump-related story that day. First, he hinted he was going to run for the 60th presidential election. Then the conservative report against him based on 60 cases came out. And then Ivana died. And it was exactly 60 weeks after the first ever Ignatian year began. And that was all in the first Ignatian year because the Ignatian year ran from May 20th, 2021 through July 31st, 2022, more than a year. She died July 14th, exactly 60 weeks after it began, the same day he said he'd run for the 60th election. And think about how sick that is. Again, Trump's a Jesuit educated. But again, he was number 45, right? Holy Bible 45. Revelation about good and evil 48 and 60, like Donald Trump. And again, people don't, how could he be evil? What about the other politicians? They're all evil, okay? He's just super symbolic of it. And that's always how it's been explained, like in Christian spirituality. When the ultimate deceiver comes, people will love and adore that person. They'll just be so taken by that person. But for those with eyes to see, they'll see. And I've been telling you guys, I told you that the night Trump took office, I said, watch, there's going to be a big biblical thing in the time this guy's in office. The Trump-Pence ticket. Again, if you don't get what I'm saying, trumpets are the warnings in Revelation, the concluding book. Trumpets are the warnings. Remember, Revelations 121 and the most simple. 121. Coronavirus was first confirmed in the U.S. on January 21st. In Revelation, the story of how you must take the mark if you want to buy or sell. Mark is one letter off from mask. For a lot of us, you either had to be wearing the mask or eventually you had to get the jab to buy or sell in a lot of places. And remember, Clade X, the first simulation for the pandemic was May 20th, 2018, exactly 666 days. Or excuse me, it was May 15th. Apologies. It was May 15th, 2018, exactly 666 days before the pandemic was declared. And with regards to it being related to coronavirus, May 15th, 15/5. Again, coronavirus is 155. And notice how Christianity is as well, because Christianity, that's the spiritual teaching that teaches about 666. Exactly 666 days before the pandemic was declared, March 11th, was the Clade X simulation. And notice Clade X. See how it's got the 49 Revelations, 49, 22. There's 22 chapters in Revelation. Here we are in 2022. Revelations about judgment. Aaron Judge is breaking this long-standing record that's been there since 61. Clade X is also 113. The pandemic was declared on the 11th day of the third month. The word apocalypse is also 49 and 113. Again, Revelation is 49 as well. Revelation translates to apocalypse. But yeah, you guys, all this stuff. And remember, Event 201, the Holy Bible is 201, the Jesuit Order is 201, Jewish mysticism is 201. That's where all this comes from. Kabbalah is Jewish mysticism. Again, Event 201 was October 18th, 1018. Satan comes to earth in Luke 10:18. Again, for people who are new here and watching my video, I'm not even a Christian, you guys. I was raised Lutheran. I'm not saying that you have to absolutely be a Christian and believe in the story, but realize that what the point I'm trying to get you to understand is the people who are doing these rituals, they are about the Bible. They are about these spiritual texts, the Talmud. When I saw the Hasidic Jews posing with the New York Port Authority's vehicles and using them kind of like as shots, you had to see it. It was so weird. This group just came out of nowhere while this was going on and started posing and taking pictures. Fake Mike Real News, his angle capturing that scene with us and the police, you can see it in there. And it just reminded me how in the Talmud, again, understand, not every Jewish person believes what's written in the Talmud, but there are some Jews who do think that is right. And it explains that in the Talmud, if you guys do not know, it explains. Before I tell you this, I got to show you something else, because it's actually a perfect thing to show in light of what happened tonight with Aaron Judge, number 99, and the Yankees getting their 99th win of the season. All this on Yom Kippur, which equals 99, the day of judgment. But look at this. Let me pull this up. Google, go away, July, let's see. Okay, this is it. Okay, so do you remember July 4th, 2016? Welcome to Jupiter. And that phrase equals 75 like New World Order, right? We were just talking about this. Last night, the 49ers got their 75th regular season win, 75 days before Pope Francis' birthday. And when I say 75th regular season win, I mean against the Rams, who they played last night. But they got their 75th win, 75 days before his birthday. The 49ers won the 75th NFL season. And that year was in 94. Last night they made home teams 9-4 on primetime, beating the Rams, as the Rams made away teams 4-9 now to face after facing the 49ers. And next week it'll be in Denver for the next primetime game on Thursday Night Football on 9-4. And Denver equals 94, who lost in the 94th season to Seattle, Washington, which also equals 94. But anyway, this is what I want to show you. Google changed their doodle the year that Juno landed on Jupiter, and they changed it so it looked like this. This was the probe, and it replaced the O, and it formed the word goy, right? And goy is a derogatory term in the Talmud for someone who's not Jewish. And what a goyim is, according to the Talmud, is someone who is not Jewish. And if you're not Jewish, I understand. I just hate that we can't talk about these things because they really should not be censored, especially when the CEO of Google is Jewish and you're not even trying to be anti Semitic. You're just getting people to think about things and fairly. Again, just because this is written in Jewish scripture, it doesn't mean every Jewish person thinks this way. And I think most Jewish people, they don't even read their scripture or think about any of this stuff, just like most people who are born into religions don't know everything about their book. But it is written that only Jews are human and Goyim are non-Jews, and they're considered the same as animals. And it's explained in the Talmud that every Jew is to have a bunch of Goyim slave for them when the time of the Jewish Messiah arrives. And the thing that's creepy about Trump is all the rituals they've been doing with him in Israel. For people who don't know when the Jewish Messiah is supposed to arrive, it's at the time of the resurrection of the third temple. And there's a movement in Israel to destroy what's on Temple Mount, which is the holy Muslim site right now, and to build the third temple there, even though there's no real proof that that's where the third temple belongs. And it just creates this religious division. And I guarantee you it's the Jesuits behind it, because they're behind all this crap, keeping the people of the world fighting over what they say is the fact and the truth. We go to school and learn from the textbooks that they wrote, so that we have to have their worldview that they taught us. That it does. It creates all this strife and conflict. But anyway, for example, Google celebrates their birthday on the day the Jesuits were recognized by Roman history, September 27th. Again, the day leaving 95 days left in the year to counter the 95 Theses. But this is what they did on the day of the Jupiter landing, Jesuit-run Google, right? They put Goy up there. And, in 2016, I was probably less fair in my own opinions in 2016, but you should grow as you get older. But anyway, something I pointed out was that this was the first time in 99 years that the date numerology of July 4th had numerology of 99. Or excuse me, not it was the first time in 99 years that July 4th had 47 date numerology. And the word goy equals 47. And I was just like, God, this is just too perfect. And Jupiter, again, Jupiter equals 99. So does 13 when you write it out. And just like the United States of America equals 99, 13 stripes, 13 colonies, 13 years of slave school. But notice how Goy, Judge, Gavel, Obey, Christian Authority, Foundation, now they're all 47. I mean, look what we're talking about now 6 years later, right? We're talking about Aaron Judge, Yom Kippur, 99. The other year when Aaron Judge won the home run derby, he had 47 home runs. Trump, again, is also 47. He put in the most judges in the single term of a president, and all by the numbers. 47, by the way, is the 15th prime, and Juno's 15. It was the Juno probe on Jupiter. And as I pointed out, Independence Day equals 74, like holiday, like Masonic, like Jewish, like occult. Remember what they did this year on July 4th? They said a Jewish rapper in Highland Park, where a lot of movies are filmed, rapper equals 74, like Jewish, like killing, like holiday, like Gematria. Again, Gematria killing, both 74, the song Gematria, the killing name, 3 of the first 5 U.S. presidents dead on 7-4. The 35th president killed on Interstate 35. 3 of the first 5 dead on 7-4. Catholic 35, Holy See 35, I-35. Kennedy was going against the tyrant bankers, the I on the dollar bill since 1935. I-35 and 46, just like Catholic. JFK number 35, the first Catholic, killed at age 46. Beau Biden, the second Catholic. Well, Beau Biden dead at 46. Joe Biden, the second Catholic, number 46, elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday and inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. And again, wouldn't it be amazing to see how many Catholic Yankee fans there were in the world? I bet it would blow your mind. Millions. Millions. And there's a lot of Jewish Yankee fans and non-Catholic and non-Jewish. There's a lot of Yankee fans, period. But it's just like there's so many people that are just alone in just those groups that need this information. I always love when a Jewish person comes here and says, "This isn't real gematria." And then I say, "Stick around." And then a month later, they're like, "Okay, this is actually pretty interesting." If you guys saw when I was at Yale, I ran into there was a nice young Jewish student there, and his mind was just blown. He knew all about gematria and the Talmud, and he goes, "Oh, gematria, that's what those Talmud Jews are into." And he was Jewish himself. And I said, "Well, it's in English as well." And he's like, "Oh yeah, show me." And then his mind was just blown. He's like, "I never knew it was in English too." He's like, "This is crazy." Every Yale student we talked to got it, you guys. And we just went there with a simple example. Yale 43, George W. Bush, number 43, George Herbert Walker Bush, the 43rd vice president. Number 43's election came down to Florida, where his brother was the 43rd governor. And I didn't even tell him about how Florida equaled 43 because I didn't even want to explain that cipher. But I just did tell him that if you use numerology, Skull and Bones is 41. And again, H.W. Bush, who was the 43rd vice president, he was also the 41st president. And then Yale, the zip code there ends with 41. And it says on the campus that there's 41 secret societies on campus. The most famous is Skull and Bones, of course. And that's why number 41 died on November 30th, 11th plus 30, 41. And again, another thing we called in advance. So, yeah, if you guys aren't on Gematria Effect News 25, go back and watch the videos I put out today earlier. And again, make sure you guys follow my website. Again, no one should be saying the stuff is hindsight. I wrote about this on Sunday. I made sure it was linked on both the sports platforms we have, the Patreon and the new community sports platform on the Gematria Effect News app. And yeah, again, you guys, I charge a rock bottom price. You couldn't go any lower. In fact, all my students who become my competitors who have their own gematria business now, they're all begging me to raise my price because, again, I just feel bad raising the price, especially when times are tough. I always wanted to do this knowledge for free. I put it all out there for free and helped a lot of people win a lot of money and improve their place in life for 5 years before I charged a dime for anything. For the sports stuff, I've only ever charged $5 a month. And I wish I could just do it all for free. But again, it does take money to pay the bills in this world. And I'm not, you know what? Sometimes I think I should just go. If we all just stop participating in the world altogether, we just gave up money and everything, and we just all, but we need food, right? That's the thing. We need food. We need shelter in the winter. I mean, it's tough, but it would be nice if we could just all give up the system and focus on having food and shelter and just giving the middle finger to Big Brother. We don't need your rigged sports game. We don't need your latest Hollywood blockbuster. And we definitely don't need to be paying you all the taxes we are. I'm out. That's always been the message, you guys. Before it's too late. Before it's too late. And again, about that point, before it's too late, I meant to say this earlier, but I got to say it right now. Yesterday, I was pulling up here, and then I forgot my point because I'm just so tangential like that. This thing about the Doomsday Submarine. There's a movie about that. It's called The Hunt for Red October, and it's starring Alec Baldwin, also Sean Connery. Sean Connery's British, isn't he? No, I'm going to insult somebody. He's not British, but he's from that same area. This reminds me of the whole Queen thing. But remember what happened last October with Alec Baldwin? Again, he shot the Ukrainian woman on the set of Rust. He shot the Ukrainian woman on the set of Rust. And it was a church shootout scene. Ukraine, Rust, Russia. And if you remember the ritual, it happened 201. Here, if you guys don't know this, this is another thing to know. This is something that can wake up your friends and family. Notice that when I read out Order of Illuminati, it's 201 and 93. Again, that's a real thing founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. 201 is the number of the Jesuits. Adam Weishaupt died 201 days after the anniversary of the establishment of the Order of Illuminati. Died on the 322nd day of the year, 322, the number at Skull and Bones, which is modeled after the Knights Templar and the Templar cross and the Jesuit logo. And these are militaries of the Catholic Church. But anyhow, Bruce Lee died while filming Game of Death on July 20th, 1973, the 201st day of the year. Brandon Lee was buried on the 93rd day of 93, which was Alec Baldwin's birthday. And when Alec Baldwin shot the Ukrainian woman, it was 201 days after his own birthday and 93 days after the anniversary of Bruce Lee's death on the 201st day of the year. And if you haven't seen Game of Death, in the movie, he's a Hollywood actor named Billy Lowe, same initials, who's also a martial artist. So it's essentially a movie about him, Bruce Lee. And somebody wants to kill him in the movie, so they load a real bullet in a prop gun for the scene and they shoot him. And that's how Brandon Lee supposedly died on the set of The Crow. Somebody loaded a real bullet in a prop gun. And then Alec Baldwin ends up shooting the Ukrainian woman on the set of Rust 201 days after his birthday. And again, 93 days after the anniversary of Bruce Lee's death. And Brandon Lee was buried on the 93rd day of 93, which was that was Alec Baldwin's 35th birthday. Again, we're just about Catholic 35, 3 of the first 5 presidents dead on 7-4. But notice Eric is 35, and Brandon Lee's character was Eric in The Crow. And by the way, Bruce Lee also equals 35. And again, this gets into Sun Tzu and art of war. It's a whole nother subject. But just think about it, you guys. Just think about all this stuff. Think about it all. You know, is it all just really a coincidence? Indeed, it is not. And hold on, Itachi's calling in. What's up?
Zach?
Yeah, what's up?
Do you see the blatant mockery they're doing with the Yankees record?
Well, I saw how they got to 99 and 61 on Yom Kippur while he was on 61, and then in the next game he hits the record breaker. What else did they do?
Yeah, that's basically it. I didn't know if you touched on how
I covered that part at the beginning. Yeah, I went over all the Aaron Judge stuff real heavy at the beginning.
Gotcha. And just one thing, with the Royals, you know how Queen Elizabeth died at 96. Right now they have 96 losses, so that could be a nice upset to end the year tomorrow.
Say that one. Who's on 96 losses?
The Kansas City Royals.
Oh yeah, the Royals on 96 losses. Again, you guys, the Queen's birthday was on the 111th day of the year. It was the day Prince ended up dying, but that's why the Royals won the 111th World Series, and they beat New York, which equals 111. And again, we saw that the Mets were going to be in that World Series in spring training. I wasn't onto the royal family connection yet, but after that year, we saw it, and it was all synced up with Charles.
Yeah. So, also the what's it called? They're playing the Cleveland Guardians, and they would get their 71st loss, and Royal by itself equals 71. Pretty sure. So, yeah, just wanted to call in with that.
All right, appreciate it, Tachi. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good night. Peace.
Yeah, take care. Again, just since this is about Aaron Judge, the quick recap before we end this stream. Again, he wears the number 99. Today is Yom Kippur. Again, if you're new here, Gematria. Very simple practice of coding numbers into words. And it's based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards with the rules of numerology. And these ciphers are also important, but notice how Yom Kippur is 99. Today, the Yankees get their 99th win, and Aaron Judge, number 99, makes history. And again, we wrote about this. I wrote about this on Sunday, why today made so much sense in light of the Queen and Yom Kippur. Again, he hits number 62 26 days after the Queen's death. Philip just died at age 99 on the 99th day of the year. And then the day after the Queen's death on 9/9, Charles gave his first speech as king. And again, her birth name, the Queen, Elizabeth Alexandra Mary, is 99. And remember, she died on the Virgin Mary's birthday. The new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, her real birth name is Mary. The new, what's the show on Netflix about the royal family? The new actress for the Queen, her name is Mary. And the only time Queen Elizabeth ever went to an American football game, it was Maryland versus North Carolina. North Carolina is named after King Charles, and that was in 1957. And now she just died on the first day of the 57th NFL season. And again, England's 57. Again, I'm just showing you how from baseball to the NFL. You know they're going to be doing things in the NBA this year. LeBron is King James. The son of King James is King Charles. People who fought for him are Cavaliers. That's why LeBron won on the real King James's birthday. I just about the World Series. The 111th World Series won by the Royals. The point Atachi's trying to make, and it's a great point. These are the kind of things you look out for with gematria, and again, it's not a perfect science, but you definitely win a lot more than you lose. And notice the Yankees stay on. I mean, that's just predictable, right? That the Yankees stay on 99 wins and get their 62nd loss when Aaron Judge, number 99, hits number 62 on Yom Kippur, connected to the Torah, which equals 62. It's just, I mean, again, 61 and 62, you guys. It's so, I can't believe that people think this stuff's a coincidence after all these years of correct predictions. Again, game one, 99 and 61 while he was still on 61. And then game two, 99 and 62. Oh my God. Oh, I love that they're on 42 away wins. Like I said, today's 181. Here, what did I write? Again, it is the 181st day of the season, the 42nd prime, and they stay on 42 away wins too. Aaron Judge 42. So again, normally I put out information like this exclusive to Patreon, but I put this out for free to everybody. I had it on my Twitter. I had it on my website. It's been there. Congrats if you won on it. A good way to show appreciation would be to sign up for the Patreon and join us for as many live streams as you can do when we do them. Learn the knowledge more and more. Learn to use your own mind and not just be relying on me and other people. And start seeing with your own eyes and explaining to your own people around you about how rigged this stuff is. And how many times, you guys, yesterday the Phillies clinched their first playoff berth in forever. Well, by the way, we said the Mariners would make the playoffs this year a long time ago. They made it for the first time since 2001. But again, I always say Philadelphia is the 65 city because it was established on the day leaving 65 days left in the year. And Philadelphia in the most pure cipher is 65. Yesterday, the Phillies clinched their first playoff berth in forever with their new manager who won his 65th game with Philadelphia to clinch it. And I mean, Jalen Hurts just became 6-5. Were the Eagles at home or away? I forget if they were at home or away this week against the Jaguars, but if it was home or away, he became 6-5 and whatever that stat was. Big number in Philly, 65. And you see how it's 2-2-3 in reverse? Notice the synagogue of Satan. In Revelation, the letters written to the Church of Philadelphia about the synagogue of Satan. See how Philadelphia is 61 and 101? Look at church, 61 and 101. 61 is connected to God through sacred geometry. Gematria means geometry and language. And again, look how Philadelphia, again, we covered the 2-2-3 where it fits in with Revelation. 61 and 101 where it fits in with church. 65. Look at Christianity, 65, right? The Church of Philadelphia. And for the record, Jesus is 61, cross is 61, Christmas is 61. So, and Christian is, yeah, I think we got them all. We got them all. Oh, Big Al's calling in. What's up, Big Al?
Yeah, man, listening to the live stream. Yeah, I got the information too, and thank you on that because I got them. I just put a straight bet on that game because they had so much value. When I saw the line open, they had the Yankees in game 2 at minus 201.
Perfect.
And then, so I don't know. They were who was it they were playing?
The Rangers.
Texas.
The Bush family team.
The Bush family, right? So, yeah, they were great odds, man, in that second game.
Awesome.
I mean, this is just so in your face. Dude,
Al,
you did all the hard work, man.
Andy, the point I want to make for people, too, and the beauty of this knowledge is it would have kept you from betting on him to break the record on Sunday or Monday, because I pointed out before the Sunday games were played why it looked like it's probably going to happen October 4th. It just makes too much sense, Yom Kippur and the Queen. So...
I mean, but this stuff is just so in your face. I mean, you can't deny it. Like, you did all the hard work. So, to get these other people to see this is, I don't know, man. I'm waking people up, though, but not like you would, want in bunches, because they won't want to accept the fact that these games are rigged. But, to do these rituals like this and have these other teams, what was it, Cincinnati, they had them at 99 losses and 61 wins, I think, today.
Right, right.
I mean, how retarded? How can all that just line up unless it's all a script? Doesn't mean they can't flip one game or another, but they're always going to get back to these numbers at the end. You know, and it was like a lot of games were easy to see today because the script's over, so they can't tweak with it anymore.
Right. You know that this is what they do. I mean, this is what we've been pointing out for years. That's why our best days are always these big holidays. It's just like the script is so easy because it's the same numbers year after year.
Yeah, they can't take back a game on that. That's why I always like Sundays in baseball, because it's obvious what they're doing. They know people are looking at this. So you just got to stick with the games where they can't get out of it, where they're boxed in.
Right.
You know, and the majority of those are going to hit if you just do that with it, because now they've changed it. Like there was days where, you know, I basically ran the entire UFC, the whole card. Now they changed it now. Now they just put bait stuff out there, but they do that in the regular games too, you know, because you decoded it for so long. So they had to change things. But still, the ultimate outcome is going to be the same. That was all rigged for those records and everything to be perfect and exact like that on Yom Kippur. Even if they had to mess with a game or two here or there.
Even without that, it's like, okay, come on, you guys. Roger Maris hits 61 and 61, and then the record gets broken 61 years later.
And what do you talk about? The same things. It's like riddles. They're trying to tell you something or clue you in. He ties Roger Maris at Rogers Center.
Exactly. I mean, at the Rogers Center.
Day they're doing this shit, man. And it's like at first I could see people laugh it off. But like when they're doing it every day, now it's like, fuck you, retard. Like, no.
Look how perfect the ritual was with the Niners last night. Tribute to the 94th season, 70. I mean, and it all synced up with the Pope. All synced up with the Pope,
man. Yeah.
Hey, look at this. Look at this. Coming back to the Queen. I went back to my old post from September 30th, 2017. Aaron Judge breaks Babe Ruth's home field home run record. He broke the 96-year record. Now it's connected to the Queen, who just died at 96 after what they just did with the Super Bowl in Cincinnati and all that. It's just...
these people were born, you know, and I was talking to my father tonight, too. He had some of this, and he's got a second home in the Carolinas, and he had part of it, this hurricane stuff, so part of the stuff got flooded wherever he was. So we were talking about it, but this even goes back to, like, high school. This shit was going on in high school to where they're already picking the kids that they want, you know, whatever families, you know, the families that have money. I just know this. And it's like we both went to the same high school, you know, and it was an all boys high school. It's very competitive, but in these Catholic schools, it's the worst shit going on, man. And the stuff they do to the kids who are poor and they don't have the money, you know, because I remember the kid that wasn't that good, but guess what? His father's at the tryout. Well, what's your father doing here? You're not a switch hitter, man, acting like you could switch hit and shit. This is bullshit, man. You know?
Indeed.
And they were already like me, because I was basketball. That was my sport. I mean, I like that even more than baseball. They were already like trying to keep me boxed in. Oh, no, we don't do that here, because I had a lot of length. So a lot of guys had a hard time shooting over me.
Sure.
So that was my game. But they didn't want me to do that. They just wanted me to like stand there like a big fucking dummy. You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of here, man. This is bullshit. No, because you don't want your guy embarrassed. That's why.
Indeed. Indeed it is. Yeah, it's all politics, man.
It's in this shit, too. This is like shit they do every day, too. And tell me if you catch what it is. I sent you this little video. It's like 10 seconds. Could you play it real quick? See if you catch what he says, the announcer.
Okay, you're going to send it to me right now?
I already did. He should have gotten it, unless it failed.
Oh, hold on. Let me look. While I'm looking, Aaron Judge, when he broke Babe Ruth's record, it was also on Yom Kippur.
I wonder if they're going to keep him around Pi, because I know he dropped to like 310. I don't know what he did today, or his record, what his batting average is now. That'd be funny if they had him on Pi or something, too.
309 could work in New York.
Oh, yeah, that'd work, too.
Okay, here, I got the clip. Let's try it out. Let's see. I'm not sure it's loud enough.
This is during the Dodgers game.
It's too quiet.
Oh, really? Shit.
Yeah, I have trouble making it out because it's quiet.
Oh man, but he says he was, like he was talking about the Dodgers picture, and at the very end, he's saying atonement. He would like to make atonement. You know what I mean? So like
He said that in tonight's game for Yom Kippur?
Yeah, the dude
Oh
was
my
talking
God.
about a Dodgers pitcher. I'll send it again.
Yeah, what pitcher was that? Do you know who was on the mound? What number?
It looked like an Asian dude or something, man, but I don't know.
Yeah, to use atonement today. I mean, that's the word for Yom Kippur.
What is it?
Atonement.
Yeah, I know. And that was like it. It's just so obvious what's going on, people. It's all script, all of it. They're just reading off the shit. Like unless that guy just knew every little detail of everything that was going on, and he just made sure to put that in.
I'll always remind people there's only a small group of guys who call all these sports games. So
yeah, they could very well know what's going on, or they're just reading off of something like the news anchor.
There's just been too much weird stuff. I know that those same people who are calling these games, they're definitely watching what we're doing in this community. There's just been too many times where they did something on TV. It's like there's no way they're talking about that after what we just said. So
well, you're talking about the Jack Bucks of the world, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like last year. Last year I was having a big revelation about the number 132, and I was going, God, this number is way more important. I was doing this video, and I was like, I got to study this more because I know there's even more to it now. And then what are they doing on Monday Night Football that night? They're going, oh, how about that number 132, huh? That's quite the number. It's like, come on, man. On the same day, come on.
No, yeah, man. That's why for me, it didn't take that long to know how special this was, dude. You did all the hard work to this. Now, like, this is easy for me. Now I can see the entire script and I see how it all plays out and how who's a part of it, which is anything coming through there, pretty much.
Indeed.
So it's all controlled, man, and it's just so obvious. It's like they were showing you in the movies. It's just like that,
Indeed.
It didn't make sense though that you showed us, but people don't want to see it sometimes, man. What the hell, man? You can make money with this stuff. Even though that's probably like really not what we should be doing, but
what we should be doing is getting in front of the sports stadium everywhere and making sure everybody knows.
So. Dude, I do my best every day, man.
There's all sorts of people that follow this work that live in these cities where these stadiums are. If everybody would just get together and do it, it would be awesome.
Yeah, I wish I had one of those big stadiums over here.
I'm getting further and further away from the stadium.
Tucson, I guess up there in Phoenix we do. We can go up there. Yeah, no, for sure. Like that would have been perfect today,
It would have, man.
Let people know about that, I mean, all that. It's just like, how is that? It's all got to be like 61. Get the hell out of here. The whole freaking, come on,
It's 90 people, 99 and 61 and 99 and that just shows you they made it so the doubleheader would be scheduled on this day too because they got the whole damn ritual planned.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
and the Bush family again. I'm just always these huge rituals with the Rangers, year in and year out. And we're always pointing out, and again, it's just this connected to the Queen. They're connected to royalty. Literally, King George II. I'm just amazed people don't get it.
Well, hey man, thanks as always, dude.
All right. Congrats on the W.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one, Al.
See you, man. Bye-bye.
See, Al reads the website. I got a lot of you guys who are like, whoa, Zach, I missed that one too. Zach, I missed that one. You guys, it only takes seconds to scan my work each day that I put out, man. I mean, you put in the effort, you get the result. That's the way this world is. Excuses, you missed it. Hey, you got to pay more attention. That's all I got to say. And this one was free money. All day, every day. That's why I made sure to broadcast it about this morning on GematriaEffectNews. Again, I'm always trying to help out the truth seekers. You can't miss Aaron Judge on Yom Kippur. So, something else, you guys, is something else the way they do it. Hey, with regards to the Yankees getting the 38th loss, again, all this stuff goes back to Kabbalah, right? I want to close out with this last point. Again, Kabbalah is that ancient knowledge that was only supposed to be in certain people's hands. You see how Kabbalah is 38? Like how they got the 38th loss? And again, it's a Jewish thing. The word Jew itself is 38. Notice in the most pure cipher, English is 38. So is Gematria. So is energy. You think about this nation's capital, D.C. on the 38th parallel. You think about the Jesuit Anthony Fauci ruling over NIH for 38 years. Again, that was the headline. He's retiring after 38 years on the 38th parallel. And then we know what else is about that number. That's where I wonder, is it like through sacrificing humans, do you gain energy? Is there a way? I don't know. I would never sacrifice a human to find out, man. I mean, you got to get into, you got that. I guess that's why it's like playing God, right? I guess that's why it's like playing God. The tree of life, the tree of good and evil, Kabbalah, the good side, the evil side. But death, murder, killing, RIP, all those words, 38. Again, so many deaths in the world of sports entertainment by that number, as we covered a gazillion times. But yeah, Aaron Judge also broke Babe Ruth's record on Yom Kippur, the Day of Judgment. I was making the same point back then. Where did the post just go? Set up the post. By the way, if you guys are new here, this article, I've had USA Today and Vice News write articles about me in sports, and both times for calling championships correct, but just making fun of what I do, calling me a wacko. You know, this is a wacko, you guys. I'm a wacko for understanding how we're being manipulated. That makes me a wacko. That's what I hate about this world, because that's exactly how the brain dead, well-programmed masses are. I can't tell you how many times I've been called names like this for talking things that are facts. It's like, man, just because I got more IQ points and can see the way I'm being manipulated, now I'm a weirdo? Okay. Okay, let me just sit here and cheer for the obvious rigged game and be a fucking retard. I guess then I wouldn't be a weirdo. And sadly, that's the way it is, you know? If you're smart in this world, and realize, I mean, we make fun of smart people growing up, don't we? I used to have to kind of hide that I was smart, because I got to be blessed. I got to be athletic and smart, and a few other assets. So sometimes you have to act like you're dumber than you are so that you don't lose your status. Oh my God, Zach's actually too smart. He's a fucking loser. That's what happened after 9/11. I just couldn't hold the smarts in anymore. And then all the losers were like, man, you're a weirdo conspiracy theorist. You should move to another country. Like, I should move to another country because I realized there's something seriously wrong with my country. I thought it's the land of the free, home of the brave. I feel like all of a sudden it's the land of the lied to and enslaved. And what else is next? But yeah, you guys, again, I mean, everything I was talking about in this post, it's manifested so many more times. They're making fun of what I said about Hurricanes 52 in sports. Go back and look at the other year. The Tampa Bay Lightning won their 52nd game of the season as the Hurricane passed over Tampa Bay. And again, for those of you guys who think it's silly to run gematria forwards and backwards, that was when the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup in the shortened COVID season, getting their 52nd win of the year, the day they won the championship. This year, the Hurricane goes past Tampa 56 days after Brady's birthday. And since he came to town, the whole world of sports has been around Tampa, from baseball to hockey to the NFL. Now the Storms just can't miss. They're there by the numbers. And again, weather warfare has been admitted to since 1952. Earth 52. Flood 52. Pope 52. 52 weeks in the year named after the Pope. The calendar is the Gregorian calendar, the one we're on. The one that now says it's October 4th. Well, if you're on the East Coast, it's now October 5th. If in that other part of the world, it's been October 5th. But I'm on the West Coast. It's still 9:24 p.m. October 4th. Anyway, you know, here's what I guess I got to wrap this stream up, because I do got to go spend some time with Sweet Lady. She's going to be mad, but she doesn't understand. I told her, she just wanted me to chill out with her tonight. I said, I got to cover this. This is big sports history. She's like, isn't there always big sports history? But it's like, this is big sports history. Home run record for 61 years. Her age plus my age. I guess it is more than 61. But again, it's a lot longer and older than both of us. Let me say thank you to the super chatters real quick, and then we will wrap it up. And for all the sports people, I will put out the football information tomorrow. I'm a little bit behind schedule this week with just keeping up with everything. But enjoy your house money when you make your football bets this week if you took the Aaron Judge Yom Kippur ritual, which you should have. Because I've been talking about Yom Kippur and huge rituals year after year for a lot of years. But hold on. Let me say thank you to these super chatters, and then we'll wrap it up. 1 second. If you guys missed the video I just did the other day on the Native American woman who died right after the Chiefs beat Brady, that game was frustrating because they had the craziest number alignment for Brady to win and Mahomes to lose. Mahomes did have the 30-night SNF number in his favor. That was historically the best number on SNF, but that game was frustrating. But then sure enough, the Native American woman, they announced her death right after the game. It's sick, you guys. And again, she just got honored after all these years with a huge apology to her on Patrick Mahomes' birthday. It is sick, you guys. Don't forget what they just did to Len Dawson on the 24th, 24 days before Mahomes' birthday, who became the second Chiefs quarterback to win the Super Bowl, the first since Len Dawson, and he did it at age 24. Okay, but Evan Escher chipped in $5. He said, I still bring a scorecard. And King Henry, shout out to King Henry. He chipped in $20. You didn't have to do that, Henry. Appreciate it, man. So, all right. And I don't know, man. I thought there'd be more. I thought there'd be more super chats after giving out that one for free. You'd think there'd be a lot of people leaving a tip, or at least a lot more people signing up for Patreon and helping out, man. It's just like, is anyone paying attention? Anyway, I do appreciate it though. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'm always amazed when people just like get on and do like the trashiest live streams, and there's like 30,000 people in the stream, and there's just like nothing worth hearing, but there's like $100 super chat, $50 super chat, $100 super chat, 2010. So it's like, who are all these people donating for this right now? Why are so many people in here? Right now, between two channels I'm streaming on, the censorship is so bad. It says we have just over 500 people. It's like, God, these streams, these people that have like audiences of tens of thousands who are putting out nothing but trash. And it's like, how is this even possible? Why are they being promoted by the algorithm while messages like this are getting suppressed? And I understand, I'm just putting out rhetorical thoughts right now. But it's too bad. It's too bad. Amy, too, cracked their code. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate that. She said Loretta Lynn died today, the coal miner's daughter, 174 days after birthday. Interesting. Interesting. If you guys aren't on Amy's website, it is cracktheircode.org. And she's someone who's recently come on the radar in a big way, pumping out a lot of content of her own. So if you guys are into Gematria, again, there are other people doing the work. Support everyone doing the work. Cracktheircode.org. You know? She's covering a lot over here. These are all of her posts just from recently. She's reminding me of me in my prime, the way she must be young, this Amy, all this energy to get out all these posts. That's how I'll get back to doing this too. It's just right now I'm moving and doing all kinds of crap, and there just isn't enough hours in the day. And anyway, she's been busy. This thing they did with Jeffrey Dahmer, you guys, here, I'll close out with this real quick. Sweet Lady's gonna be mad at me. Let me get the Jeffrey Dahmer thing here. Look at this. I just looked at this the other day. Jeffrey Dahmer in 1991, you get this story about this racist, cannibalistic, homosexual serial killer right next to the Jesuit University Marquette in Wisconsin. And he's arrested finally on 227 when his name's 227. And the man who escaped that led to his arrest, Tracy Edwards, you see how his name's 141? Remember, the year this happened, 91, on July 22nd, that was the same year Rodney King, this other huge racial focus, that was the same year that Rodney King was beaten, March 3rd, 91, 3-3, 91. There's a connection in the NBA with the Lakers and the Bucks and players like Kareem. But again, it was 141 days later. 141 days later. And isn't it interesting, these stories of race and evil, terrible things? And again, it's just like how it's always been. That's exactly how we would have decoded back then. We would have been like, okay, remember the year began with this racially divisive incident. Now you got this racist serial killer story 141 days later, and the guy who led to the story is Tracy Edwards. I mean, again, if we would just been aware of Gematria all this time, all these years we've been on Earth, we'd have been seeing how this is the way the stories have been unfolding the whole time. Back to your regularly scheduled programming, always focusing on the same things. Fear this, go buy this, divide yourselves over this, and it's all by the numbers, all of it. Abortion, politics. So there's a lot more to say about all this, but yeah, I just wanted to point out that one little thing there. And there's a million more things to say about the new show they put out, By the Numbers. Let me see if I have an old post from 2014 on Jeffrey Dahmer. Back in the early days of decoding. I didn't even know reverse back then. So I was onto the whole 44 and kill thing, that's for sure. And again, they said he killed 17 people in Wisconsin. Kill equals 17 and 44. Wisconsin's one of two states that equals 44. The other is Georgia, which shares Stacey Abrams, Hank Aaron, Brett Favre. There's a big connection with Wisconsin and Georgia. But yeah, I also did a more recent post on the Jeffrey Dahmer thing and why it released on the day it did. If you guys have seen that the Netflix app has the new show about him. And again, it released September 21st. And that is the day, leaving 101 days left in the year. His full name, Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer, 101. And from his birthday to his death was 191 days. His full name, 191, like we just said, 101 in the most pure, like they released the show, 322, Yale Skull and Bones, 97. That's interesting because death equals 97. Brotherhood of Death equals 97, which is the nickname for Skull and Bones that identifies by 322. And again, 191, that's the Society of Jesus. They have the Templar cross in their logo, and the Skull and Bones 322 is modeled after the Knights Templar. Brotherhood of Death, serial killer. And the guy who founded Marquette, the Jesuit University, he died in history on 9/7. R.I.P. to Chris Farley, who died by the numbers. It's funny, Derek and I met for the first time. Derek's who made GematriaEffectNews after he found my work. And it inspired him to really get into the work. He just did the update. For the first time, he's trying to raise some funds on the calculator. People are getting mad at him for it. But you know what, you guys? He built an awesome website that revolutionized this work. And, he's still making it totally free. But he said, if you want to pay for some more features, there's a way to raise some money. And again, I mean, I have a feeling if people invest in Derek, he'll figure out more good ideas for the community and put more funds in. It does cost money and time to make a website. But yeah, Derek and I, funny enough, we didn't plan it this way, but Derek pointed out after we did. Him and I met for the first time. I was on the way to New York City for 9/11. I was in Milwaukee on September 7th. And him and I met at Marquette and talked to students there, along with other truth seekers who showed up. Shout out to everybody who came out. Green Arrow, Chris, everybody. And Green Arrow brought out his whole family. Luke. But funny enough, the day that we met there was the day in history that the founder of Marquette died. And I had no idea when we were meeting there. That's weird synchronicity. So. All right. We got a lot of good information out there. And again, thank you to everyone who hit the like and the share. And shout out to Leonel Hernandez, who chipped in $2 as well. I appreciate that, you guys. But yeah, got to go spend some time with Sweet Lady. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. If you're in the other part of the world, have a good day. Thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. Again, these videos only get out if more people hit the like. And since Google's actively taking away likes and comments, again, that's the reason for even more people to help out. The more people that do it, there's still more likes because they're going to take so many away, but still there's more. And the more there is, that's the way that Google algorithm works. The more likes and comments, which they do delete, the more likely it is to show up in a stranger's feed. So thank you to everyone who also shares it. And again, thank you to everyone who supports my work and other people who are doing the work in the community. Like I see Kayla Decode Talkers in the chat. I see Simple Truth TV's in there. I'm sure Mr. Futures is somewhere out there. Gematria32, I'm sure, has his own Patreon coming soon. But again, support the people doing the work, you guys. All right, have a good rest of your evening. And until next time.